Hey everyone, we are almost done with this book. I decided to read outside again today because it's a beautiful evening. It's Sunday evening, and we have just 2 more sessions for this book, and then we'll be done. Tomorrow, so you're watching this on Monday, tomorrow on Tuesday, you're going to have a writing assignment about mixed up files. Okay, just letting you know that that's coming up tomorrow. So tomorrow you'll do the read aloud first before you do the writing assignment. Okay, so we're in the middle of chapter 9. This is one of the longest chapters because we've done part 1, part 2. So I'll finish up chapter 9 today, part 3. And then I believe tomorrow will be chapter 10. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to get started. So they're in the middle of having lunch with Mrs. Frankweiler. And Claudia's still not giving too much away. She doesn't want to tell her too much yet. Okay. So Mrs. Frankweiler's asking them questions. So she says, "What part of living away from home did you like the best?" Jamie answered first, "Not having a schedule." Claudia became impatient. "But, Jamie, we did have a schedule, sort of. The best that I could manage under the circumstances. That wasn't the most fun part of running away." "What was the most fun part for you, Claudia?" "First, it was hiding, not being discovered. And after hiding became easy, there was Angel. Somehow, Angel became more important than running away." "How did Angel become involved with your running away?" I purred. "I won't tell you," Claudia answered. I put on my surprised look and asked, "Why not?" "Because if I tell you how Angel got involved, it will be telling you too much else." "Like telling me where you've been all week?" "Maybe," she answered coolly. "Why don't you want to tell me that?" "I told you before, it's our secret." "Oh ho! You don't want to lose your bargaining weapon," I crowed. "Is that why you're not telling me where you stayed?" "That's part of the reason," she said. I think the other part is, that if I tell, then I know for sure that my adventure is over. And I don't want it to be over unless I'm sure I've had enough." "The adventure is over. Everything gets over, and nothing is ever enough, except the part you carry with you. It's the same as going on vacation. Some people spend all their time on a vacation taking pictures so that when they get home they can show their friends evidence that they had a good time. They don't pause to let the vacation enter inside of them and take that home." She's got a good point. "Well, I don't really want to tell you where we've been." "I know," I answered. Claudia looked at me. "Do you know I don't want to tell you, or do you know where we've been? Which do you mean?" "Both," I told her quietly. I resumed eating nouilles et fromage en casserole. Remember, that's just fancy for mac and cheese. French. Do you think she really knows that they stayed at the Met? Let's find out. Claudia looked over at Jamie. Jamie had slipped down in his seat and had thrown his napkin over his face. Oh, that's right, he told her. That's right, I forgot. It's been a few days. Claudia jumped up from her seat, grabbed the napkin off Jamie's face. Jamie quickly threw his forearms where the napkin had been. "It slipped, Claude. It slipped out." Jamie's voice was muted since his forearms were protecting his mouth. He's talking like this. "It slipped out." "Jamie, Jamie, that was all I had. All we had. The only thing we had left." "I just forgot, Claude. It's been so long since I've had a conversation with anyone but you." "You shouldn't have told her. You heard me say to her that it was our secret twice. Now everything is lost. How can I get her to tell? You had to go and blab it all. Blabbermouth." Claudia looked at me for sympathy. She does get emotional. "Claudia," I said, "be seated." She obeyed. I continued. "All is not lost. I'm going to make a bargain with you, both of you. First of all, stop referring to me as her. I'm Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler. Then, if you give me all the details of your running away, if you tell me everything, I'll give you a ride home. I'll have Sheldon, my chauffeur, drive you home." Claudia nodded. "No." "A Rolls Royce, Claudia, and a chauffeur. That's a very fine order," I teased. Jamie said, "How about it, Claude? It beats walking." Claudia squinted her eyes and crossed her arms over her chest. "It's not enough. I want to know about Angel." I was glad that I wasn't dealing with a stupid child. I admired her spirit. But more, I wanted to help her see the value of her adventure. She still saw it as buying her something. Appreciation first, information now. Nevertheless, Claudia was tiptoeing into the grown-up world, and I decided to give her a little shove. Claudia, James, both of you, come with me. We walked in single file through several rooms to my office. For a minute, I thought I was leader in a game of follow the leader. Jamie caught up with me and said, "For an old lady, you sure can walk fast." Claudia then caught up with Jamie and kicked him. Remember, he kind of blurts out things, right? He says what he's thinking. We arrived at my office, and I motioned for them to sit down. "Do you see those filing cabinets along that wall?" I asked, pointing to the south wall. "Those are my secrets. In one of them is the secret of Michelangelo's Angel. I'll share that secret with you as the rest of my bargain. But now my information is more important than yours. So you must have a handicap. The handicap is that you must find the secret file yourselves, and you have 1 hour to do it in." I turned to leave, then remembered, and I don't want my files messed up or placed out of order. They're in a special order that makes sense only to me. If you move things around, I won't be able to find anything, and our whole arrangement will be off. Jamie spoke. "You sure know how to nervous a guy." I laughed and left the room. I tiptoed into the large closet I have next to my office. From there I watched and listened to all they did. Jamie got up immediately and began opening file drawers. Remember this picture. Look at all those files. They only have an hour, and they might not even know what they're looking for. Claudia shouted, "Stop!" He did. "What's the matter with you, Claude? We have only 1 hour." 5 minutes of planning are worth 15 minutes of looking. You see the difference between the two of them? He's much more impulsive. She's much more into planning, right? He blurts out things. She thinks things through. "Quick, give me the pencil and notepad from that table." Jamie ran to get them. Claudia immediately began making a list. "Here's what we'll look up. I'll take the odd numbers. You take the even." "I want odd." "For goodness sake, Jamie, take the odds then." Here's the list Claudia wrote. Number 1, Michelangelo. Number 2, Buonarroti. Number 3, Angel. Number 4, Park Bernay Galleries. Number 5, Metropolitan Museum of Art. Number 6, Italian Renaissance. I'll even show it to you. Number 7, Auctions. Number 8, Sculptor. Number 9, Marble. Number 10, Florence, Italy. And number 11, Rome, Italy. Okay, so those are like key phrases that they're going to be looking for. Jamie looked over the list. "I changed my mind. I'll take evens. There's one less." "Talk about wasting time," Claudia screamed. "Take evens then, but get to it." They began to work very rapidly. Claudia once or twice cautioned Jamie not to make a mess. They had exhausted the list, odds as well as evens. There were folders on most of the categories they looked up, but upon examining them, they found not one hint of Angel. Claudia was feeling depressed. She looked at the clock. 6 minutes to go. "Think, Jamie, think. What else can we look up?" "Think, Jamie. What else can we look up?" Jamie squinted his eyes, a sign that he was thinking hard. "Look him up under..." "What kind of language is that? Look him up under." "Oh, baloney. Baloney, Claude. Why do you always pick on my Baloney, baloney. That's it, Jamie." She bought Angel in Bologna, Italy. That's the name of a town in Italy. The paper said so. Look up Bologna. They both ran back to the files and pulled out a file folder fat with papers and documents. It was labeled Bologna, Italy. They knew, even before opening it, it was the right one. I knew, too. They had found the file that held the secret. Claudia was no longer in a hurry. She sauntered over to a table, carefully laid down the file, smoothed her skirt under her, and sat in a chair. Jamie was jumping up and down. "Hooray! Hurry up, Claude! Hour's almost over." Claudia was not to be hurried. She carefully opened the folder, almost afraid of what she would find. The evidence was sealed between 2 sheets of glass. The evidence was a very special, very old piece of paper. On one side was written a poem, a sonnet. Since it was written in Italian, neither Claudia nor Jamie could read it, but they could see that the handwriting was angular and beautiful, in itself almost a work of art, and there was a signature, Michelangelo. The other side of the paper needed no translation, for there, in the midst of sketches of hands and torsos, was a sketch of someone they knew, Angel. There were the first lines of a thought that was to become a museum mystery 470 years later. There, on that piece of old paper, was the idea just as it had come from Michelangelo's head to his hand, and he had jotted it down. Claudia looked at the sketch until its image became blurred. She was crying. At first she said nothing. She simply sat on the chair with tears slowly streaming down her face, hugging the glass frame and shaking her head back and forth. When at last she found her voice, it was a hushed voice, the voice she used for church. Just think, Jamie, Michelangelo himself touched this over 400 years ago. Jamie was looking through the rest of the folder. The glass, he said. I'll bet he didn't touch the glass. Are his fingerprints on it? He didn't wait for an answer before asking something else. What do you suppose the rest of these papers are? There are my research on Angel, I answered, as I emerged from my hiding place in the closet. He did it in Rome, you know. I just filed it under B for Bologna to make it hard. Both children looked up at me, startled. Just as they had lost all their feelings of urgency, they had also lost all thoughts of time. Finding a secret can make everything else unimportant, you know. Claudia said nothing and nothing and nothing. She continued clutching the drawing to her chest and rocking it back and forth. She appeared to be in a trance. Jamie and I stared at her until she felt our eyes focused on her like 4 laser beams. She looked up at us then and smiled. Michelangelo did sculpture the statue, didn't he, Mrs. Frankweiler? Of course. I've known that for a long time, that he did, ever since I got that sketch. How did you get the sketch? Jamie asked. I got it after the war. Which war? Jamie interrupted. World War II. Which war did you think I meant? The American Revolution? Are you that old? Jamie asked. I'm not even going to answer that. Claudia said, Hush, Jamie, let her tell us. But she couldn't hush either. She rushed in with an explanation. I'll bet you helped some rich Italian nobleman or some descendant of Michelangelo's to escape, and he gave you the sketch out of his undying gratitude. That's one explanation, but not the correct one. There was a rich Italian nobleman involved. That part is right. Did he sell it to you? Jamie asked. Claudia rushed in again with another explanation. He had this beautiful daughter, and she needed this operation very badly, and you... Jamie interrupted. Hush, Claudia. Then he asked me, why did he give it to you? Because he was a very, very bad poker player, and I'm a very good one. You won it at cards? I could see admiration grow in Jamie's eyes. Yes, I did. Did you cheat? He asked. Jamie, when the stakes are high, I never cheat. I consider myself too important to do that. Jamie asked, how come you don't sell the sketch? You could get quite a boodle for it, being that it matches up with the statue and all. I needed having the secret more than I need the money, I told him. I knew that Claudia understood. I'm going to stop there, even though we're still not done with Chapter 9. We'll finish Chapter 9 tomorrow and Chapter 10.